I had one task. One. I've been avoiding it for 2 weeks. Not because I didn't know how, not because I didn't have time, because every time I sat down to start, I opened YouTube instead. Sound familiar? I used to call that laziness. I don't anymore. Fiore spent decades studying why capable people avoid the things they most want to do. His finding changed how I see myself. Procrastination is a fear response, not a character flaw. Your brain isn't avoiding the task because you're lazy. It's avoiding it because starting feels threatening. And a brain that feels threatened will always choose safety over productivity. That's the problem. These are the 3 fixes I tested. 3 books, 3 techniques, 30 days. Here's what actually happened. The first technique comes from Fiore's The Now habit. Fiore doesn't tell you to work more. He tells you to schedule play first. He calls it the Unschedule. Before planning a single work session, fill your calendar with guilt-free leisure. Walks, meals, evenings off, things you actually enjoy. Put them in first. Let work fit around them. I thought this would make me less productive. I was completely wrong. Week 1. 3 scheduled walks, 2 evenings completely off. 1 morning with no work before 10 a.m. The task I'd been avoiding for 2 weeks, I started it on day 3. Not because I pushed harder, not because I found more discipline, because for the first time in weeks, starting didn't feel like a threat. Here's why it works. Procrastination isn't about avoiding work. It's about the absence of recovery. When every hour feels like it should be productive, rest becomes guilt. And guilt makes starting feel heavier than it actually is. Schedule the rest first. The guilt disappears. The work becomes possible. The most counterintuitive technique on this list. The most effective one I tested. The second technique comes from James Clear's Atomic Habits. Implementation intentions. Most people plan to do things. Almost nobody plans exactly when and where they'll do them. That gap between intention and implementation is where procrastination lives. Clear cites studies showing people who wrote down the specific time and location of their intended action were 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through. I stopped writing work on the task in my planner. I wrote, I will work on the task at 8 a.m. at my desk before I open anything else. Same task, same person, completely different result. Day 1 with the implementation intention, I sat down at 8 a.m. There was nothing to negotiate. The procrastination had nowhere to go. Procrastination thrives in vagueness. The more specific the plan, the less room the fear has to operate. The third technique comes from Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. Duhigg argues that every habit, good or bad, runs on a 3-part loop. Cue, routine, reward. The cue triggers the behavior. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is what your brain gets at the end, and why it keeps coming back. Procrastination has its own loop, and once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. The cue, sitting down with something hard in front of me. The routine, avoidance, phone, email, anything easier. The reward, immediate relief. The discomfort disappears. Your brain learns. Avoid it, feel better. I kept the cue, sitting at my desk with the task open. I changed the routine. Instead of reaching for my phone, I wrote 1 sentence. Just 1. Day 12. I opened YouTube. Stopped. Wrote 1 sentence instead. That's it. 1 sentence. The discomfort still lifted, but the routine was now starting, not avoiding. 1 sentence became a paragraph. A paragraph became a session. The loop didn't disappear, it just started working for me instead of against me. 30 days. Honest count. The task I'd avoided for 2 weeks, finished by day 5, the Unschedule, the most counterintuitive, and the most effective. 11 out of 12 scheduled work sessions actually happened. The ones that didn't, I already knew why. Implementation intentions, simple and underrated. 9 out of 10 planned sessions started on time. One word changed from work on it to 8 a.m. at my desk. The habit loop reframe, the hardest to maintain. But understanding why I was avoiding something made it slightly less frightening. Slightly is enough. Did procrastination disappear? No. But something else did. I stopped calling myself lazy. And that turned out to matter more than any technique on this list. Because the moment you stop treating procrastination as a character flaw and start treating it as a problem with a mechanism, you can actually fix the mechanism. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's your brain protecting you from something that feels threatening, even when the threat isn't real. That task I'd avoided for 2 weeks, it's done. Took 3 hours once I actually started. 3 techniques, 30 days. That's all it took to understand what was actually going on. If you want to track your own 30 days, I built a system for it. The decision score system, link in the description. Most people read the book. We test it. Honestly.